Thank you, Pastor Mark. Good evening, everyone. Well, it's always great to be in the house of the Lord, right? Amen. Well, you know, there's a saying that says that there's a separation between church and state, but for those of you who may have some knowledge of my interaction, I'm not afraid of my faith, and I share it whenever I have an opportunity to. And I'm really excited about tonight, not necessarily because of the topic, but because whenever you can bring believers together, it's always a great time, because oftentimes, you know, it's always said that the most segregated time in our country is on Sunday. Is on Sunday. And this is an opportunity for the community to come together for a common cause. The reason why we're here is shortly after the recent incident in Texas, had a conversation with Pastor Mark. He contacted my office regarding just a horrific incident in Texas, you know, which can happen in any of our churches. And so we had a meeting, and we talked about, you know, what can we do in the city of Miramar in terms of security, because this can happen in any church. So we talked about some of the resources of our police department and getting together, and what started out as a conversation about just, you know, what can be done in, you know, with Calvary. We said this is some valuable information that we can share with churches in the city of Miramar as well as in the surrounding areas. So we put the call out and made the agreement that that we would reach first. Calvary met with our police department and had a training session in regards to what are some threats and vulnerabilities and some things that this church can do to bolster its security. And then after that session, we would have a general meeting where you all are here today. So you'll have an opportunity to get a glimpse of what was shared with Calvary on that day, to give you an overview of what you could be doing in your churches. And I hope that you will take the information to at least to plant a seed. So whether if you have a formal ministry or a committee that deals with security, that you can enhance it and make it even better. And for the city, for the churches that are in the city of Miramar, police department is just a phone call away, so you can have a one-on-one with our police department. And for those of you who may be in our neighboring cities like Pembroke Pines, Hollywood, and Miami Gardens, I'm sure their department has some resources that are available to you in those jurisdictions. So hopefully this information will be beneficial, and I'm looking forward to seeing the information myself. So I have some members from my church, the Fountain Church, that are here, and glad to see that they're represented so that we can take that information back to our home church as well. So thanks again for coming out this evening. And at this time, I'd like to bring up our Chief of Police, Chief Dexter Williams.
Good evening. Good evening. I want to thank everyone for allowing us this platform to speak to you this evening. You know, destruction and mayhem is always out and about, so we needed to have this discussion tonight because, like you said, we just went through some other tragic situations this morning, and I thank the pastor for reaching out and putting a word of prayer out to that family. The child that was injured this morning with a gunshot to the head was 14 years old. 14 years old. So as I say, you know, death and destruction is around us all. And the most vulnerable folks are the ones that are just sitting in this room, sitting in their respective places of worship. And as you are trying to worship, people coming in and doing things and trying to harm you, and you end up sitting there, you know, unarmed and have no other way of protecting yourself other than flight. So we had this discussion, as the mayor said, and we were discussing how best can we bring you some information so that you can best prepare yourselves, because obviously the police department is a reactive agency when it comes down to certain types of issues. This is one of those issues. Active shooter situations is always reactive, which means that some people are going to be hurt prior to our arrival. But if we can educate you just enough to save lives before we arrive, then it's worth it. And that's the reason why we're here tonight. We want to make sure that we put a presentation together that would allow you then now to go back to your respective worship centers and either one, formulate security plans in place if you already have one to enhance what you already have if you don't, and then also bring awareness to a couple pieces and parts of it that you may not have thought that are, you know, good for your respective community, such as, I'm just going to give you a quick one. If you have in your congregation police officers or corrections officers who wear the badge, who have the gun, who have a car, you can have placement of those vehicles. You know, ask them, hey, is it okay for you to drive your vehicle to the worship center? Can you drive it to work? Or can you drive it to, you know, to Sunday session, Saturday session, what have you? And can you park it right out front? You know, you as the pastors of your respective worship centers can have the autonomy to put a parking space right out front. Most bad guys, they see a police car, what do? Turn around. They want to find someplace else to go because they don't know if they're going to engage with somebody who's wearing a badge and gun when they enter. And they don't want any resistance. They want victims that they can attack without resistance. And that's what they're looking for. So what we want to do is change that mindset. We want to change how you look at your congregation because you have to be that protector. You have to make sure that you have everything in place to address that situation. Now, we have it's about a 45-minute presentation that we've condensed to about 10 slides, okay? Last week, we did the presentation here with Calvary, and it's a long program to go through, but we wanted to make sure that we can kind of combined it just a tad bit, shortened it for you so that you can have it and you can go over that. But in addition to receiving those, you know, that 10 slide, it's like a PowerPoint packet. In addition to getting that, what we also want to do is be able to come out to you if you need us to come out to you. Respectively, if we have 45, you know, worship centers in our city, you know, my training team, they're here. They can have the discussion with you. We can plan to come out. But between now and the planning day, you need to do something in between there. Doesn't have to be robust, but just something. Just something to make your parishioners feel a little bit safer. That's all we're asking, just a little bit. So the presentation that's going to be done will be done by one of my officers first, and let me introduce them. This is my training team that they do all the training for all of my staff, all 300 staff members that I have, in addition to all our volunteers as well, in addition to, I know I overwork these guys. They also go out to all the local businesses, and they also do all the training for them too for active shooter. In addition to, don't ask for a raise, in addition to, we also do active shooter for the schools. So we do to all the public schools in our city as well, and the charter schools as well. So we go out to them and we do programming in there as well. We've done it for Spirit Airlines, we've Everglades High School. We've done it for all these businesses and education centers as well, because we want the kids to know what to do as well. If something happens, what are they supposed to do? That's always the question. What are you going to do if somebody comes running through that door right now with a firearm? What's your plan of exit? Do you stop? Do you fight? Do you flight? What do you do? That's what this presentation is going to be about. So without further ado, let me just introduce from my left is right over there. You can raise your hand. The captain over the training department, which is Jose Sanchez. Okay. The sergeant behind, right next to him, is Chris Saunders. He runs our firearms and training range, which is directly next door. That's our firearms facility as well. So we have our own indoor range. So lots of firearms activity that goes on in there, and he oversees that as well. And right next to him is my new master police officer, Maurice Arbeles, as well. He will be giving the presentation this evening as well. And then, where did I see Corey Bogus in here? Ah, there he is. Okay, that's your community police officer right back there. Everybody should know Corey. Yeah, look at that. You get the woos and the whistles and all that, right? That's our community police officer. As you know, in the city of Miramar, I have a community resource officer in every single region of this city. That's only thing that they do is address the quality of life in your respective neighborhoods. That's it. They don't do any calls for service, dispatch a call to, and they don't do any of that. All they do is go knock on your door when you have a problem. That's it. To talk to you about how to make things better, how to live harmoniously in your neighborhoods together. You have an issue, your neighbor's dog's barking or something, he can go and address and go have that conversation. And we try to mediate. That's what he does. He tries to mediate. We're not trying to arrest a dog. We don't want to throw him out. We don't want to do anything. He wants to make sure that we're living in a good, harmonious living environment with each other. That's his thing, quality of life. That's what he addresses. And I have that all the way from one side of the city all the way to the other, and I have a total of about 10 team members plus the supervisors that address only that quality of life issue. So thank you, Corey, for all the hard work you do out here as well as Spencer. And last but not least, my deputy police chief, he can please stand, Lenny Burgess. Over three, I know we're getting old now. He's over 3 decades of law enforcement service to our communities in Miami-Dade County and Broward County as well. So he was a great addition coming on and has helped me continue to keep this city growing strong in public safety. So thank you again for that. So without further ado, I'd like to call Maurice Arbeles to the front. You going to do it down here? Okay, great. I was going to call him up, and he can get the PowerPoint. If we can get the PowerPoint queued up. The tech guy's up? Okay, you ready? Oh, technology, my bad, sorry. All right, so without further ado, so after he does his presentation, we will open it up for Q&A. At that point, I believe they passed out a few index cards with some pens, so you can write whatever questions you might have so you just don't forget them. Write multiple questions, what you want, whatever you like. At the conclusion of his presentation, myself and the mayor will be available. We'll be sitting right up here to answer any questions that you may have and give you further instruction and direction from that point on, okay? So I will see you back in a couple. Okay.
How's everybody doing tonight? Excellent, excellent. Like the chief said, my name is Mauricio Arbeles. I'm a master police officer with the city of Miramar. I'm going about 18 years now at this agency, and about 15 of those years I've had the fortune of being a member of the SWAT team. As a member of the SWAT team, I've been very fortunate receiving excellent training from within and from other agencies. And one of those topics that we've gotten a lot of good training on is this specifically what we're going to speak about tonight, okay? Bear with me, I'm getting over a cold, apologize. So we're going to talk about active killer tonight, okay? Like the chief said, we could talk for hours on this, so we're going to try and condense it down to a good 10 minutes or so. So when it comes down to active killer, there's 3 options that we have as a civilian, as an unarmed civilian, or even armed. Run, hide, and fight. Has anybody heard of that concept? It's pretty common. It's common across the country, and it's starting to grow now. Gain a little steam. So we're going to start with each individual topic here. So run. It's exactly that. If you have an avenue of escape, if you have a lighted, marked exit signs that lead outside of the facility, if you work within this facility and you know another back way out, those are the options that we need to take. Have that escape plan in mind, okay? If we work within a specific building, an office cubicle, we should know where our nearest exit is. We need to start planning ahead and planning now. One of the important things about the run concept is leave your belongings behind. Everyone's very conscious or just so, they're so stressed out about leaving their purse or leaving their laptop behind. Leave it. Their cell phones, yes, absolutely. If you can grab your cell phone, by all means, it's an excellent tool to have in these situations. Grab it, put it on silent, put it in your pocket, and go. Leave your purses, leave your laptops, leave your briefcases. They'll be there. They'll be there. Ultimately, what it's going to end up being is the crime scene. Everything will be contained within, okay? If you can help others escape, please do. But do not risk your own life, your own safety, okay? Everyone's personal safety is their own responsibility. It's a very important concept and point to keep in mind, and a little bit hard to to accept at times, okay? And you must alert others. Let them know what's going on. Let them know, don't run in this direction, run this way. He's over there, she's over there, let's go this way. When officers start arriving on scene, it's important that you follow directions, ultimately, right? And not only in everyday business, but in these situations. Listen to what they say. They're going to be yelling, they're going to be screaming. And there's going to be another slide down the road here where we're going to talk about expectations. And like I said, if you can carry that cell phone, if you can put it in your pocket, call 911. Let them know what you have. Get the best description as possible. Let them know what you're hearing, what you saw, what you smelled, what you were told, okay? Hide. It is exactly that, hide. That's in the event where evacuation is not possible. If you have two exits, one of them is barricaded and the bad guy is at the other exit, then we don't have the option of running, right? We're gonna have to hide. We're gonna have to find a proper place, a good place to hide. Somewhere where it's out of view, right? Out of view of the killer. Let's find a place where we could obviously hide behind, hide under, furniture, screens, anything that can conceal your position, okay? When I may have said cover, it's a term that we use in law enforcement. Cover means something that would protect you from a round, a bullet. Okay, if a bullet is fired, that piece, whatever that object is, should be able to protect you. And we need to understand, and this is not a lesson in law enforcement or tactics, but we need to know the difference between concealment and what's cover. Concealment is this, right? Piece of paper concealing my face. Is this going to stop a bullet? No. Okay, simple as that. Cover is a big heavy piece of furniture, a wall, a steel door, something like that. Is that pretty clear, right? Okay. And the last option, the very, very last option. This is where you can't run, you can't hide, okay? He's kind of already cornered you, knows where you're at. The last option is to fight, okay? This is a concept that is, again, not for everyone and very difficult to accept at times, but we have to reach within ourselves, reach within that inner warrior that's in all of us, and think about survival and saving others around us, okay? You're gonna have to act aggressively. You're gonna have to think primordial, right? It's in us. We came from our ancestors who protected themselves this way. So we're gonna have to kind of draw from that. Protect yourself at all risk, or at all costs at this point. Throw items, improvise weapons. I can look in this room and find 100 different items that I consider an improvised weapon. This microphone stand, this microphone. Trust me, I played baseball. I can throw this pretty hard. In schools, we teach the teachers scissors, flagpoles, tape it together. Now you have a rudimentary spear. Again, think outside the box and draw from that inner instinct, okay? Yell, obviously, that's something that we're going to have to do at the same time. That's really not going to stop a killer, but it's going to help a little bit, okay? And commit to your actions. Once you've got that plan in mind, once that door comes open, you have to commit to that plan, okay? Again, this is a very difficult concept to accept, but we have to do it, okay? Everybody clear on that? Okay. Okay, so we're going to show a quick video here. This was put together by the Houston Police Department, and it's an excellent illustration on Run, Hide, Fight. Please.
It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. But sometimes bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. Unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference. Run, hide, fight. First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try and escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important, you, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority. Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911. If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm him. And commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
Okay, folks. So the video definitely illustrates the run, hide, fight concept. It's simple as that, okay? Some of the things to keep in mind, once the event has happened or is in the commission of, officers are responding. We're very fortunate in the city of Miramar to respond very quickly. Our response time to this would be somewhere in the area of 2 minutes. We're very fortunate, okay? With that being said, all our officers are trained in these tactics. They all know what to do as the initial responders, as the contact teams in these situations. Officers are going to be arriving, shouting commands, and physically directing you, okay? This is nothing personal towards you. This is just the state of mind that they're in. They're focused. They have a job to do. That job is to stop that killing. The officers, the first initial responding officers, they're not there to medically evacuate like the video said. They're not there to render aid or help carry anybody out. They're there for one purpose only, and that's to stop the killing. So that means they're going to step over you. They're going to step past injured and move directly to contact, move directly to the threat, okay? Once we've established where the active killer, active shooter is, once we've contained him or isolated him or neutralized him, then we'll start bringing in rescue teams. And we have an entire system that's perfectly suited for this situation. In fact, we're one of the first agencies in Broward to integrate paramedics with our police response. So now our paramedics are going in body armor and providing what we call TCCC to the victims, Tactical Casualty Combat Care. So what to expect when encountered by law enforcement? Most importantly, we definitely need you to remain calm and follow instructions. I know it's easier said than done, but try your best, okay? Anything that you have in your hand that can be perceived as a weapon or as a threat, please put it down. Please put it down. Again, these officers are coming in a state of mind. This is the most dynamic situation an officer's ever going to respond to in their career. Probably the most tragic and most dynamic. So understand how the officer's thinking at that moment. If you have the item, put it down, please. Cell phone, put it in your pocket, put your hands up where it can be seen. Keep your hands visible at all times. Sudden movements, don't do them. Don't rush towards an officer and try and grab onto him. Not to say something bad can happen, it's just going to slow that officer's down. It's going to impede his goal, his objective at that point. Skip that last one. And proceed to the direction instructed, okay? They tell you run in that direction, go with your hands up, you do it right away, okay? Everybody clear on that? Okay. All right, so mitigation, as far as how do we prevent this from happening. Every individual institution, every place of worship, every business, we encourage them to start implementing an emergency action plan. Start thinking now. Everyone's safety is their own responsibility within an industry or a business. Obviously, we need to have some type of plan to help protect our employees, right? So, like the chief mentioned prior, the City of Miramar's training unit, myself, Sergeant Saunders, my partner in the training unit, we're willing to provide any training necessary, any training that you guys want. We can expand this program out to 45 minutes to an hour, and can do a lot better. Oops. And if you, Sergeant Saunders' information is up on the board. If you guys want to snap a picture of that, it's there for you to contact him. In conclusion, no two incidents, this is our little disclaimer, no incidents are exactly the same, okay? This should be used as a foundation. Okay, start building your plans now. Start thinking now for ourselves, okay? Right below there's two links from FEMA, 906 and 907. If you type in IS 906, IS 907, trust me, the link will pop up. It's very good resources to take. It's an online test. You get a little certificate saying you've completed it. It's good for all, I encourage HR divisions from the businesses to do this. It's good training. And that's all we have. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Master Police Officer Arbelaez. If you can please leave that last slide back up. I just want to make sure that everybody gets a snapshot picture of that with your cell phones or what have you for that special link right there. The IS training programs are absolutely incredible. That is definitely what you want to go on those websites and pull up if you have the tech to do it. Make sure you pull that information up. There are lots of Q&A that I want to have with you as well, and also to allow some engagement from you as well. So I don't know if the mayor wants to come up right now. We can start having that discussion. But as it relates to, you know, a couple of notes, points that I put down as well for discussion was in regards to what Officer Arbeles said. It's not personal, but when the officers arrive on situations, on shoot situations, everyone is a threat. You just have to understand that. Everyone is a threat. Although today we dealt with a situation where the 14-year-old had a gun in hand and took his own, what if he would have decided to say, you know what, I want to go out in a blaze of glory. This is how I feel my blaze of glory is going to be. What would the officer have to do? Does the officer say, wait a minute, I'm not going to pull the trigger because he's a 14-year-old or what have you? No. As Arbeles said, the officer, he or she has to go to that threat to stop it by all measures, whatever that might be. Our last scenario that we have to pull our weapon, yes, we may have to. Will it be with a child? Potentially, it could be. Active shooter? We don't know. These kids play these games on this television, and I didn't want to go there, but you and I both know these kids have these game systems at home now that 99% of it is all about shooting. So why not let play out what I'm watching and playing on this social media, and now they phone in with each other. You know, I learned that, you know, recently, where they're even talking through the game system of how, you know, how many people you killed today and that kind of foolishness. And the funny thing is about in that video that you saw, the active shooters are just that calm. You're the one that's excited because you're the victims. They're the ones that are calm because they are feeding off of that mayhem. They walk in calm, they know exactly what they want to do, they already came very prepared. Some of them already have, you know, ballistic materials on themselves already, so they're already ready for us when we arrive. So we're already coming into the unknown, but our objective there is to go straight to that target. So those are a couple of things that, you know, we tried to engage with. And, you know, the fight syndrome, that's a big one. And we all know about that one from 9/11, you know, with Flight 93, if you remember that. That was that fight situation at that point. That's exactly what happened. Those passengers said, you know what? That's it. We have got to do something. And this is the big kicker here. For you, when you're in your congregation and you're that person or that team that has to engage, you know you may have to lay your life down on the line for that. And that's a big ticket to swallow. We do it every single day, every day. But you have got to know that when you engage with this individual, that you're coming in maybe with something in hand, maybe not. But you might be coming up with someone who has an AK-47 or something like that. You have got to know that you are not going to retreat if you have already committed yourself to going in as a team, however you plan to address that. It's a scary thought, but it's the truth. Okay? So that's, you know, we're here to provide you with some level of surety that these things, if you practice these things, you can save lives. Hopefully, you can save your own as well, you know. But if the ultimate sacrifice has to be made, then you know what has to be done. And you have to make sure you get the right people in place that are ready to take care of and do that. Okay, and then that's the hardcore truth about that.